Okay, what's up, YouTube? So I just want to point something out here, right? It's just this is 14 hours ago, in which it was about probably about 14 hours ago when I was telling my brother Ed how it is, when he's using his Jesus Christ account. I could be wrong. Maybe it's not my brother Ed, but if it's not my brother Ed, they still take offense whenever I tell the truth about my brother Ed. I don't know why this person gets mad when I tell the truth about my brother Ed. I see them interact with everybody else in the TI community, but they don't interact with me. Why is that? Right? I mean, believe me, I believe 100% it's my brother Ed. So I just wanted to point a couple things out. So after he said again, it's not, I'm not your brother, haha. So I started asking the right questions. I said, okay. You went to school with both of us then, right? And they said that they're from Hastings, next town over. They said they're 3 years younger than me. But, if I haven't figured it out by now, then they feel sorry for me. How the fuck could I figure that out based on that? Patton has 1,600 people in it. Hastings probably has about the same. How the hell would I know who you are? When you literally, you act like my brother. And you get offended by the very exact same things as my brother. What do you know? But I just wanted to point this out. X, right, which is my brother, okay? X is my brother, okay? Just another one of his sock accounts. If you look here, if X was the only account my brother had, right, then you would see him commenting. Ed, I'm sure that Ed watches all my videos and comments because he doesn't miss a damn thing, right? He's there, spot on, Johnny on the spot to bring up whatever he can think of and talk shit on me whenever, any chance that he can. And the stuff that these other people talk about, right, are they're either instructed by my brother to put that stuff out there, or it is my brother, one of the two. But I should have some other comments on here from X, right? He just commented. He said, Henry, why are you commenting on a video featuring your victim, Henry? See, this is what he did whenever he didn't like how everybody seeing him for his true colors. When he was doing the senior abuse to his own father, right? And he was trying to manipulate the situation online to deceive everybody, right? It wasn't working out for him. People were telling him right in. He posted a video to make my dad look bad, and it backfired on him because people aren't that stupid. And they told him right to his fucking, on his video in the comments. They said, yeah, no, Ed, we saw what you did. That's fucked up. And they asked the right questions. He just deleted those people and deleted those comments. And it was still had over 100 comments on it, like within a day, right? And then he told me that he told me ahead of time, the night before, he was going to do this. He said, tried to turn the whole situation around, right? And make it about something totally different. The situation was he didn't want to pay any money. He didn't want to help out with the electric bill. That's it. He had the whole house, him, his old lady, and his two kids. My dad's house. My dad was getting tired of paying a $500-600 a month electric bill. And he asked for some help with the electric bill. They got all butthurt about it. They wouldn't help him. He said, all right, then, you got 2 months. In 2 months, you're either gone or you're just going to pay $400 a month rent. Simple as that. That's very reasonable, right? And for the next 2 months, he did this online campaign trying to make my dad look crazy, like he couldn't take care of himself. All these little tactics, like planted little seeds online that he's going to burn the house down, that he abuses him all the time, and he has to put up with this, to the point where people downtown actually, they believed a lot of this stuff. Only the people that were around my brother and his old lady, right? The people at the Dollar General, where Kim was a manager. My dad would go down there, and they actually, the one Lindsay said to my dad one time, real nice girl that worked there, she said about, well, don't they take care of you? She said to my dad about Kim and Ed, right? This is the people that they tell their kids not to eat anything he cooks. That's very disturbing, first of all. Don't eat anything your grandfather cooks. Why? Is there something wrong with the food? He was a cook in the Navy. He makes excellent food. But they would go get food on their own. He would ask what they're doing for dinner. I don't know. Then they'd all leave, not say a word, go get food, come back and eat it in front of him. So then they'd go down and they'd tell everybody they take care of him. Right? All they did was use their cards and their bank accounts to pay the bills and then added their name to the receipts. My dad handed them the cash, okay? They were planning on taking the house for squatters' rights. They're supposed to pay the taxes every year. That's it. It's $400 and some a year. That's it. Right? So every year at income tax, they'd pay the taxes. This went on for years and years. I did it years ago when I was there too. But it only takes 2 years not paying the taxes and it goes up for sheriff's sale, okay? This is right whenever PUA was going on. And everything happens for a reason, right? Well, my dad was dealing with them. He could feel something wasn't right. He could feel that they were up to something, and he didn't know what he didn't know, but you could just feel the energy. You could feel, that they were up to something after he said he wanted some money for rent, right? So I started going up there every day, and I saw it right away. And they at first tried to pull me aside, and they were going to try to talk to me, like Kimmy was saying, oh, don't you need to talk to your brother? Don't you need to talk to your brother? And then he just ended up never talking to me about anything. I believe that the plan was to talk to me and try to convince me that he was crazy, because it takes 3 family members to have somebody committed, and they needed that 3rd family member. I believe that's what they were going to do, because I saw it right away. After the first time, my dad finally, said, this is what's going on. He was embarrassed. He didn't want to tell anybody. He was being abused, senior abuse, in his own house, right? So after that all happened, he had a bad feeling. He said he kept asking him about the taxes. And they said we'll pay it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, we'll pay it. They made him believe it was paid. They took care of it and they paid it. They had, close to $10,000 at the beginning of the year. So whenever he decides, I'm going to look into it. When he decides to look into it, only to find that it was 2 years back. And it was 1 month away from going up for sheriff's sale, right? And they're telling him that they paid it, right? What would you think? Well, what would you think? The money wasn't an issue. They had all the money to pay it. It's $400 some. For real? Now here's an issue that they're telling him, oh, you ain't getting rid of us. Telling everybody else they take care of him, trying to paint the narrative that he can't take care of himself, right? So, and then they're telling him that the house taxes are paid, not to worry about it. So he goes and looks into it and finds out they're not paid. And then, hey, as the universe would have it, PUA started, and there was PUA assistance, and I helped my dad to get the PUA assistance legitimately. Just because my brother didn't look into it at all doesn't mean that when somebody got the PUA assistance, pandemic unemployment assistance, that it was fraud. Ed, I tried to help him as well. I said, Ed, you're eligible for that too. But he wouldn't. He refused to do it, which is weird. It was weird. He saw everybody around him getting this assistance, but he wouldn't even look into it. And that was strange to me. He would not do it, and I don't understand why. So I helped my dad out. He got the money he needed, and he paid his own taxes right before it went up for sheriff's sale. And he told me that after he paid the taxes and they found out, I guess this is coming from my dad, I guess he overheard Kimmy saying to Ed, my brother Ed, see, I told you he was up to something, right? Now, what the fuck? Why would you say that? I told you he was up to something. What do you mean up to something? He paid his own taxes. Good thing, huh? Good thing he looked into it, huh? What do you mean he was up to something? What the fuck were you up to? Lying to him, telling him you paid him, not paying them, and then doing all this smear campaign online, right? This is the beginning of all this, right? So I guess we have to address it all, because It's not a fucking brotherly feud here. No, it's one of them is a piece of shit, and he tried to do horrendous things to somebody. I luckily stepped in and brought light to the subject. Now my brother will not show his face in town. Yet he says that about me. That's just not the case at all. Not at all. Okay, that is not the case at all. He will not fucking step foot outside his door or show his face in this town. I never see Kimmy at the dollar store. I go there all the time. Somehow, I just never see her. Somehow she knows when I'm coming and hides, or she just doesn't work there anymore. I don't know. I talk to other people who say they see her all the time. Right? So there's these little things that, and nobody can deny this. I'm not lying here. There's other things that I have omitted, that I have not talked about, because my intent is not to totally smear my brother's name. Okay? It's what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. It's to preserve my own fucking reputation, set the record straight, because somebody feels the need to go and spread a bunch of lies about me because they didn't get their way. Wah! They got to throw a little hissy fit. Wah! And make 10 sock accounts and play psychological fucking warfare on YouTube. So that's what this is. X, right? Here's a comment from X, which is my brother. Now, wouldn't I see a whole bunch of comments from him? Right? He has commented in the past, right? But you will not see X. I just scrolled through quite a while, and I didn't see any. But this is one of these patterns you can point out, right? So you can clearly see. Yeah, why is that, right? Why is it that X isn't commenting on anything, right? And there's Pat and Perps, right? And it's funny, that picture of the Pat and Perps right there, if you look up John Patton on Facebook, it's got the same picture. What do you know? And I have a picture damn near proving, somebody called him out, on the group. He had like a Facebook group where he spreads all the fucking funny, haha, John Patton shit. And there's people that are on YouTube that won't admit that they're part of that group. But yet they call me John Patton. Where do they get that from, right? Where do you think they get that from? So everything I say, I'm very confident that I'm exactly 100% correct on what I'm talking about. Everything. I could be wrong about all the accounts being my brother, but they are absolutely involved. They might as well be my brother. And then the times where he talks to himself, right? Forgets that he talks to himself as if he is two different people and they're strangers to each other. Then a couple months later, he'll do it again. And it just makes me laugh. It's like, you already tried this, remember? He says something to the other person, to the other account of his own account. He says, yeah, if you want, I've got all kinds of videos on this John guy, on this guy. He's this and he's that. Get a hold of me, hit me up, and I'll share whatever you want, right? And he says that to himself. But that has an effect of anybody that reads that message. It has a subliminal effect. It has a way of just making a person, without even realizing it, making them believe, right, that there's a couple people, one that says that they have videos of somebody, right? This is a tactic they've used on me several times. No video exists. Evidence doesn't exist. They just say that it exists. Just saying about evidence existing has an effect. It makes people believe what you're saying. Well, they said they had pictures of it, right? But they don't have to show you the pictures. You see what I'm saying? So they don't ever show any evidence. They just say that there's evidence that exists, right? And he does this, but since he doesn't have anybody, I don't think that there's anybody working with him. I think it's all him, right? It's all him. All these people do is lie. So why would they tell me the truth? And you tell me where they're from, how old they are. Come on. They're not going to tell me that. That's just to throw me off. They're just lying, obviously. Because they won't tell me anything else, It's just a lie. But I could scroll all day. You won't see any X here. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't tell you when the last time, or if he ever even commented under that account, under X. It took like 2 years, and then he finally made an account, and it was Ed Hofer, right? But I made the point where, okay, well, what were you using What account were you using for the last 2 years then, Ed? Right? What account were you using for the last 2 years? Because there's no way you're going to say that you just now discovered my channel, right? So you only created that account because I called you out on the Jesus Christ account and told everybody that you were Jesus Christ, and I was right. So then you did that. And then eventually, after people realized that you were my brother, and it kind of died down a little bit, then you don't see the Ed Hofer account anymore. It's gone, right? It's gone again. Ed Hofer account is now gone again. And what do you know? Now we have the X account appears, right? The Jesus Christ account that you can just keep changing your picture so often that I'm not sure which picture is the Jesus Christ account and which picture is the X39X account, which I don't know. The Jesus Christ account, I believe it's the one you made the night before my birthday. When you were doing the Chuck E. Cheese video, you literally made a sock account December 11th, 2022. And that has been the same one. It was created December 11th, 2022, right? What are the odds that you made it right whenever you were putting that video out, right? From the Patton Perps. And then a person from town called you out on your John Patton page and said, "This is sick, Ed, because you were involving my kids," right? So this is sick. This is stooping to a new low. What do you know? The very next day, all the Patton Perp videos went private. Out of nowhere. Just boom. Because they were right. They called your ass out, right? You made them private until you could go through like a fucking weirdo and analyze everyone and make sure that there's nothing that you could be charged with defamation of character on, because that's what you people do. You cover your asses like you have a professional or an expert sitting there coaching you on everything that you do. So, this X commented on this comment that he's replying to was over a year ago, and that's the last time that person commented on my page, right? So why do you think he's going on here saying this now? Just to try to dredge up some story about my fucking daughter, dude. You're sick in the head, Ed. You're sick in the fucking head. If you keep it up, I'm going to do what I told you I was going to do, right? That I haven't done yet. I said, if you bring my daughter into this, if you say anything about my daughter and your fucking Facebook rants when he was trying to discredit my dad, right? When he had to what? Be responsible? Pay rent? Then he turned the story around and tried to paint my dad as a pedophile protector, okay? And he did. And what do you know? Exactly what I said was going to happen happened. My daughter came home from school the next day and had a bunch of people coming up to her asking her, "Is this true? What's this about?" And he knew that was going to happen. That's why he did it, to take the attention off himself. Because he's a fat piece of fucking shit. Right? You should be ashamed of yourself, Ed. You should be absolutely ashamed of yourself. It's funny, though. Every other person that you may have convinced or whatever that might have been involved, every time they were faced with the truth, and I told them how they should absolutely be ashamed of themselves, they ran away with their tail between their legs. They never came back. They never came back. They would comment something stupid in the very first video they ever saw. I would say something that makes perfect sense, put them in their place, and then they never came back. Right? Like Leslie Smith or something, whatever the fuck her name is. Is it Leslie Smith? I can't remember. I don't know. There's a group of girls that came on, blonde-haired girls that came on and saying stupid shit that they knew nothing about. Saying hashtag creepy stalker and shit like that. And I just put them in their place. They actually brought up the shit about my other brother and my daughter. And I fucking put them right in their place. I said, what the fuck is wrong with you? Seriously, what is wrong with you? You need fucking help. Because they're not thinking of anybody but themselves. And that's fucking evil. Okay? It's sick and it's evil. And it has nothing to do with me. Right? So why would anybody bring that up on my channel? Period. You need help. You're sick in the head and you need help. It's plain and simple, Ed. But I do believe Jesus Christ is Ed, too. Because it wasn't until I hinted to the possibility that maybe Jesus Christ is somebody else. And then all of a sudden, look at that. Then Ed comes on here with the X account, commenting out of nowhere, right? He just thought, oh, here's my chance, right? Come on. So, you have to point these things out, because you can't allow these people to do this. Because here's the thing, they care about what everybody thinks. That is their weakness. I don't care what anybody thinks, right? But I don't think it's right for somebody to manipulate good people. Good people. There are good people in this town. And I get along with 90% of them. To manipulate good people to believe something for your own sick intentions like this, that's wrong. And I can't just stand by and watch you do it. Watch these people be manipulated. Because if they knew the truth, I truly believe in my heart, they would not do what they're doing to me if they knew the truth. And they wouldn't appreciate being manipulated like this. Made to look like a fool. And I believe that's why 90% of my gang stalking has stopped. And then all I got was just a bunch of my brother gang stalking me, right? To this day. It still does. It's, you can't fix stupid, so I can't make him stop. He can do what he wants. But I think it's retarded, and he shows his true colors. And I don't, I've tried to, in different ways, make him realize that he's only showing everybody his true colors. He's making himself look like an ass. And I didn't want that for him. I really, truly did not want that for him, because that's not good for anybody in my family. Like, how's that help anybody in my family at all? You're letting everybody else laugh at you and your family. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So I tried to get him to see, that he wasn't going to be effective. He wasn't going to... But I guess he just doesn't see it. I guess he just doesn't fucking get it. He'll never grow up. He's never had to be responsible for himself at all, or anybody else for that matter. Never in his entire life. At all. At all. That's not an exaggeration. He has never had to be responsible for himself whatsoever, at all. Even whenever he got a DUI, or I think he might have got a couple of them, but I know the one DUI, it didn't teach him a lesson at all. Oh no, he still drinks and drives. But he, you think he paid that himself? No, fuck no. He doesn't make enough money to pay that for DUI on his bongo salary. That's all he does. So I wonder who paid for that then. He's been fucking sucking off of fucking Kim's tit since for the last fucking 20 years. Straight up, 22 years. He's never had to do anything on his own at all. And then he's the type of person that has the nerve to go to, say, a single dad who took care of his kids on his own. I lived by myself with my two kids, the majority of my adult life, right? I raised my two kids more than anybody else has, right? By myself. And since 2019, their mother abandoned them. Their mother hasn't even gotten them for the last 4 years. And this has been the hardest 4 years of my life so far, right? So through this 4 years of my life, which has been the hardest I've ever had, right? Having to deal with all this shit and do it on my own as a single parent at the hardest time in their development, right? My daughter is just an adult right now. My son is 15. So can you imagine with a bunch of people in town that are fucking scheming and planning and smearing your name and doing everything they can to fucking ruin you because they're mad that they could never make their lies true. So they did it to me for so long. When they realized that it was not going to work, it was going to backfire, they started targeting my son. They tried to target my daughter. She's just too good of a person. You can't even say anything bad about her without looking like an asshole. You really can't. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to take a little bit of credit for that. She's not the person that she is today because I'm a horrible fucking dad. Let me tell you that. So Conspiracy Underground, when you want to talk about my parenting, ask my brother what happened to him when he told me I was a bad dad. Ask him what happened. You don't know me. You don't know my parenting. You don't know my fucking kids. So I'd keep your mouth shut. You don't have any kids. Who the fuck are you to say anything? For real? I don't even need to say this because I'm sure other people and other parents that are listening to this would agree with me. Stay in your lane. I don't know what lane that is. Fucking DoorDash lane or something. But it certainly isn't parenting, is it? And sorry, they didn't give me a handbook, when my kids were born. Didn't get a handbook. But I have been there every step of the way throughout my kids' entire life, and I have never left them. I've never fucking not been there for them. So that's one thing you're not going to attack. Sorry. You don't get to do that. You're not going to attack that. So felt that I had to include that in there. And the fact that my nephew, see, I say nephew, but I don't know how to address this anymore. Because they don't talk to me for some reason. I have never done anything to my nephews. But I don't have two nephews anymore. I have a nephew and a niece, I guess. That's all I'm going to say about that. But that's just, let that be your gauge to gauge, my brother's parenting. With two parents that have been together the entire time, right? In what you would consider a perfect little home life, right? Well, then what happened? What? Why? I don't get it. Because the one kid is the supplier for all the vapes in the school. Yep, he's an entrepreneur, and he supplies all the vapes to all the other kids in school because he has such a good parent, right? Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't believe that you don't know about it, Ed. Right? I refuse to believe that. And then the other one is just a fucking warm-hearted, doesn't have a mean bone in his body, but yet for some reason gives me dirty looks now, and is a girl instead of a boy. And I can't help but think that it's a result of your actual neglecting of your kid's development, Ed. You had your face shoved in your computer for so many years that you didn't care or pay attention to what your kids were doing or how they felt or what they needed, so they felt the need to this is why, no offense, to my nephews, but this is kind of a result of what happens whenever you don't get, the attention that you need, right? You feel you have to reach out in other ways. So, and this is something that later on in life, I'm sure you'll look back and you might get mad at me now, but you'll look back at it and realize that Uncle John was right, and or you won't, and if that's the case, hey, best of luck, and I'm sorry for you. But at the end of the day, can you say that I've done anything to you for you to be mad? Where does this hate come from, right? Where do you guys get this hate from? That you automatically just think that Uncle John's a bad person, that I've done something to you, right? Whenever you guys went in and took all the light bulbs out of the entire house, and then went in and shoved candy bars and candy bar wrappers down in every light socket, that's wrong. I'm sorry. I don't know who told you to do that, but that's fucking wrong. Are you going to take accountability for that? No. Whenever Ed went up and had his kid steal the lawnmower off my dad. My dad had a receipt. He bought it with his name on it. But Ed lied. He had his son steal the lawnmower because he's a coward. He was a PFA against him. But they waited right when my dad left the house. It's amazing, their timing. The ability for them to show up right whenever he left. And he felt like he should hurry home because they fucking traumatized him. And he hurried home, and what do you know? Right when he got in the driveway, there's my brother, right? He's like telling his son, hurry, bring over this way, like, right? My dad said, "Where are you going with my lawnmower?" Right? And Ed grabbed it and threw it in his van and took off and stole it. And he came down to my mom's house where he was staying at. And he took the tarp off of my lawnmower and threw it over my dad's lawnmower, right in the middle of the street. He didn't need it. He didn't need it at all. It wasn't because he needed a lawnmower. He wanted to take that so that he could try to start trouble. He knew that it would piss my dad off, right? So he did that. Then he tells my mom that my dad stole it off him. And when my dad came down to take it back, right, it did cause a big problem. I had to explain it. I said, hey, Mom, I said, listen, I'm neutral. I only know what I see with my own eyes. And I've seen the receipt. It's his lawnmower. Ed is getting you in the middle of this, and it's fucking bullshit. He was getting my mom all stressed out. He was getting her in the middle of this, trying to get her pissed off at me and at my dad, right? And she doesn't need to get help getting pissed off at my dad. So when he came and took it back, she started bitching to me. She's like, your dad, blah, 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 blah. I said, Mom, listen, if I don't want him on the I said, call the cops. I said, this will take care of it. Just call the cops. It'll straighten everything right out. Call the police. Report it stolen. They'll straighten everything right out. Because I knew that if she did that, they would investigate, they would find the receipt, and then the truth would come out, right? And then no, I wouldn't have to argue, right? And Ed would look like a fucking idiot and a fool and a liar that he is. But this is just one of the many, 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 many things that he's been doing in the last fucking 3-4 years. He's possessed. The hate and the anger drive his every fucking thought in his mind every day, all day. The only reason that I talk about my brother is because he won't stop. And it doesn't bother me, but like I said, it's important that people know the truth. If you know, because it's easy to manipulate somebody if you're only given a little bit of information. And it's easy to believe somebody if they say, I got pictures of this and I've seen this, and you know what I mean? I've seen this whole process through my own eyes, watched all the people, right? By the time I find out anything, they're all already giving me dirty looks and targeting me. That has completely flipped around from what it was at the beginning, completely. I have, on the contrary, I have people who I don't talk to, haven't talked to, saying comments to me that don't make sense on the surface, but if you think about it, makes perfect sense. Like I'd have one woman comes up and says, hey, thank you for your service, and walks away. And I'm like, how did she know I was in the military? Like, you know what I mean? How did she know I was in the military? And it was weird. And she was genuine about it, you know? And you come to realize that these people have been following my channel, right? And they probably checked into everything that I've said. I challenge anybody to check into anything that I say. Please try to debunk it. Please look into any of it. I have no reason to lie about any of this. No reason to embellish any of it. If anything, I sugarcoat it because I don't want everybody to look at my brother like a piece of shit. But I mean, if it looks like a duck, sounds like a duck, walks like a duck, no point in calling it a chicken, right? Quack, quack, motherfucker. So, just felt the need to do this. And I'm sorry, I know it's not in me to be negative to anybody, and this is hard for me to do to begin with. But, you know, you can't just lay down, roll over, and let these people do this. You can't. You know, the truth is important. It's very important because you can't allow all these people that are being manipulated with lies. It wouldn't happen if we would get over that empathy, right? I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to make anybody's, you know, life tough. Well, I have to get over that because you have to. That's the only way that good people don't end up being manipulated, right? That's what I believe, because I don't care what anybody thinks at all. But I can't stand by and watch people be manipulated. It's not right. They're good people being manipulated. So I hope this reaches them. And I don't care if it reaches my brother. That's not the point. This is not for my brother. I have done the videos in the past for my brother to try to help him to see. This, on the other hand, is the opposite. This is not for my brother. This is for everybody else Okay? Look into what you're being told. Question it. Question it to him. If he's telling you, ask him why he's telling you that. And question the information you're being fed. Okay? All of it. I promise. You're not being told anything that's true. So, with that being said, be good or be good at it. Peace out.